Hey everyone, I'm so excited to see everyone online. We're just watching you guys log on and we're just like, oh, there's some of our favorite people. How are you ladies doing?
Good. Good.
Awesome. Hey, so make sure you guys, if you can see at the bottom of your screen, there's a button that says chat. And so that's how we're going to do a lot of our talking tonight is through the chat box. So we want you guys to just pop on there and say, hey, I've got some questions that we're going to do some fun icebreaker stuff here in a few minutes. And so we're going to be doing a lot of that through the chat. So we'll have you guys unmute your microphones when we want you to talk. But anyway, my name is Stephanie, and I'm so glad you're here. I'm in a room of lovely ladies, and I also have been chatting with some of our panelists beforehand, and you ladies are in for an amazing treat. I see some of my favorite people. I miss you guys. I'm so sad we couldn't be together in person, but I'm so thankful that we are all together virtually. It's just wonderful. I got my sidekick here. This is Evelyn. She's sharing my screen with me. She and her husband Jared are leading our the National Youth Director, the Destiny Director of Youth and Young Adults. Yeah, so she's helping me out here tonight too. Well, hey, I thought it might be fun that for us to maybe let's get to know each other a little bit. So I have a couple of questions I would like to ask you guys, and I would love it if you would comment in the chat box. So the first question I have, and maybe we might have you guys, some of you unmute and tell us some, explain a little more, but if you would go to the chat box and answer this question for me, okay? What is the best vacation you've ever been on, or what is your favorite vacation spot? So go ahead and start chatting that in the chat box. You gonna type something? Israel 2017. Audrey Acrono said Israel 2017. I know Miss Jeannie Abbott is in the room too, and that's probably going to be her favorite too. New Zealand 2017 cruise, Cancun with just the hubs, the beach. Kath, Washington D.C. Hey, Lindsay, Alaska. Wow, that's fun. That's fun. New York for graduation. Awesome.
I love New York City.
Yeah. Okay. So, hey, Audrey, if you wouldn't mind, do you care to unmute and talk to us for a minute about Israel, your trip to Israel?
Oh, yes. We went with a small group, which was fun. And we, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. In 2017, we went to Israel. And it was a small group, but we joined up with several other groups. And I think it was about 32 of us by the time we got together. But I enjoyed the entire trip, just visiting different places. My husband and I were just talking about it just today, that we would love to go back again and visit some other places that we didn't get to see. But my favorite part about it was we got baptized in the Jordan River.
Wow.
And, you know, before we even left, a lot of people kept saying, when you go to Israel, you'll never be the same. When you come back, you'll never be the same. And I truly, you know, I feel that things have changed so much in my life, just spiritual. And I just loved it. It's a trip that I think everybody, if you can afford it, to go, because it really wasn't that expensive. So it was a great trip. And we were there for like 11 days or something like that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Lisa Pratt, you've been to Italy. Wow. Do you mind to share maybe your favorite spot? Maybe tell us, first of all, will you just tell us where you're from and where you go to church? And then would you please tell us your favorite part about your trip to Italy?
Yes. Hi, I'm Lisa. I live at Fort Hood, Killeen. I'm on staff at Vintage Church here in Killeen, Texas. And my husband and I saved up after his first deployment to go to Italy. And so we went to Venice. We stayed in outside Venice, and then we went to Florence and then Rome. And so we did all three of those. And it was amazing. We didn't have kids at the time. And it was pretty incredible. So I think I would like to go back. He's smiling and laughing, but yeah, so that's what we did. We went to Italy, and yeah, we just kind of took it all in. I think Rome was probably the best experience. Well, I don't know. It was all good. I can't, there's no like good part. It's just all good. It's just all good. So.
Okay, so our next question is, what books are you reading right now that you would recommend to your Christian sisters? What are you reading? Or what have you read maybe during the pandemic or recently that you think is just a must read? You can go ahead and just chat that in the chat box. Where are my readers? Love does. Off. Are you gonna type the? You're gonna type the Bible. I read the Bible a lot too.
There's one book though that I need to read.
What book are you wanting to read, Evelyn?
I think it's the one. I forgot what it's called. Is it spiritually and emotionally something?
The emotionally healthy leader. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, my husband's read it or part of it, but he's just gonna finish it. But I've heard it's really good, so that's one I'm wanting to read. I'm not a huge book reader.
Nothing to Prove by Jeannie Allen. Get Out of Your Head. Becoming by Michelle Obama. The Color of Water by James McBride. Detox Your Soul devotional. Awesome. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and go on to the next question. So here's an important question. Evelyn and I learned this about each other today. But what do you order at the coffee shop? What's your go-to order? What is, when you go, I'm going through the Starbucks, or you're going to the local coffee shop that you love, your favorite spot, what are you going to order? Flavored tea, Sister Trina. Oh, wow. Yeah.
Everybody likes coffee.
Okay. Hey, Lindsay McFalls, will you hop on real quick and tell us where you're at and tell us what an iced Mexican coffee is? That sounds like it's a little spicy.
Hey, am I here? Okay. So I'm sorry, it's not an iced Mexican, it's an iced Mexican mocha.
Okay.
But it's so good. We are in Ruston, Louisiana, and it's a new coffee shop I've just found, Railway Coffee, and it's really, really good. Anyways, it's very strong, and I had it this afternoon, so I probably won't sleep until like 12 p.m. tonight. But it's amazing. Ice Mexican.
Who else
I
has?
want to go back on mute.
Okay, so let's ask one more person. Okay, we're gonna go ahead into our last question. So, what is something? This is a little more serious, but what is something that you have changed positively during the pandemic? A positive change that you've made during the pandemic. Like, I know that we are exercising. We are exercising more. We're walking. We got our kids' bikes, and they ride around our neighborhood like crazy. They didn't do that before. I guess they got tired of being in the house, and so we got them some bikes, and they are riding up and down our neighborhood all the time. Okay, so Brittany McNeil says, how I communicate with my husband. It's been Life changing. Hey, Brittany, will you unmute and talk to us about that for just a minute? Tell us where you're from.
Hey guys, I'm from Ohio, Cleveland area. Well, that's where I live, not necessarily from, but I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. And I put communicate with my husband because I'm not a big communicator when it comes to being vulnerable, just because of things I've been through when I was younger. And so being home together 24/7 with a 4-year-old has brought a lot of challenges, but it's allowed me to communicate. It's allowed us to become closer and just kind of get to the core of some issues we've had. We've been married 7 years now. And so we're coming out of this pandemic much stronger than when we were going in. So I'm thankful for that.
Very good. That's awesome. Well, okay. I think we've got just about everybody logged on. Thanks for participating and answering all these questions. And I'm going to turn it over to our fearless leader, one of the most sweetest, kindest people you will ever meet. This lady can speak. I mean, like, she's got the peace of Jesus just flowing through her. And it doesn't matter what's going on. Her voice and she says are some of the most calming ever. And so I'm just so proud to turn this over to a mother, a friend of mine, Miss Kathy Brassfield.
Thank you, Steph. Well, hello, everyone. It's so good to see you all, and you're just beautiful this evening. I love hanging out with ladies. We can just be who we are, and you guys look wonderful tonight. Well, I will have to say one thing that probably was pretty positive for me during this season was I had a little more time to get organized. And, for those of you who know us, we do quite a bit of traveling, and I had too many piles everywhere. So I got to get organized, and I just was so excited about that. It truly was the little things that brought me joy in that. We're so happy you guys are here tonight. We have a wonderful evening planned for you. And first of all, for those of you that I haven't had an opportunity to meet, I'm Kathy Brassfield, and I'm married to Phil Brassfield, the director of Destiny Ministries. And we love doing what we do for Destiny, with Destiny. We love our Destiny people. And it's so wonderful to get to do something that we love, because we love you all. And we've been married 20 years, and almost from the time, with the exception of 3 years, almost from the time we got married, I was automatically in full-time ministry. And before that, I worked in the business world for a number of years. And so I just feel so blessed to get to do what we do. And I'm just thankful to the Lord for his faithfulness. So as I was saying, we got a great session planned. We've got a wonderful speaker that's going to be coming on in a few minutes. And we've got a great panel that's going to just some dear friends and a couple of staff members. And they're going to be joining us in our conversation about issues that affect women in ministry, home, family, ministry, all the above. And each of these women has a unique perspective and brings an important point of view. So let me just take a minute and introduce those to you. We have Trina Lowe, and Trina is always in the middle of what's going on with the Ladies of Destiny. She and her husband, Pastor Tom Lowe, are the pastors of Christ Church in West Monroe, Louisiana. They just do an amazing job, and she is quite amazing. She's a pastor's wife, a gifted teacher, and so creative. You've heard people that are creative. She's really creative. And she's one of my dearest friends. And I have Sarada Galloway that's also with us. And for those of you who haven't met Sarada, she's one of the most courageous young women that I know. She was so courageous to leave the security of her home and country in Trinidad to just answer the call, say yes to God's plan in her life. Her husband is Landon, who serves as the director of Destiny Leadership Institute. And together they pastor. They're just wonderful pastors. She is an amazing mom. You have 2 precious little girls, a pastor's wife, an intercessor, and just has a lot of wisdom. I just love her dearly. And Stephanie Powers, who you met just a few moments ago, she's one of those people who can just do about anything, and I mean anything. And she does it so well, from being a talented magazine designer to social media guru to cooking, baking, and to artistic crafts. She's just amazing. She can do it all. She serves on the Destiny team as Director of Communications and is one of the brains behind all the technology required to do ministry well, especially in these times. And Stephanie is a constant. She is faithful, and she's become like family to me, and I just love her dearly. Well, let me introduce to you our speaker. We're going to hear from our panel here in just a little bit, but first we're going to hear from our speaker, and she is Chelsea Briggs. And I'm just so excited about Chelsea being with us this evening. She's a young, busy mommy to 2 little girls and 1 little boy. She and her husband, Marcus, serve as pastors at the amazing River Park Church in Shreveport, Louisiana. I've had a sneak peek into what Chelsea's going to be sharing with us this evening, and you really are in for a treat. Chelsea, we're so blessed to have you talk with us this evening. Would you take just a couple moments and tell us just a little bit about yourself and maybe a couple of your favorite things, and then just share with us what's on your heart this evening?
Yeah, so thank you so much, first of all, to Miss Kathy for allowing me to share my heart with you guys tonight. It's really special. A little bit about myself, something funny that happened today. Do any of you have like a reoccurring nightmare that maybe you've had since you were little, and this nightmare has spoken to you what probably your greatest fear is? Well, for me, my reoccurring nightmare has been, and it's an interesting fact about myself, that I'm afraid to bite into corn on the cob because I'm afraid that my teeth will chip. Okay, so I've been having this reoccurring dream ever since I was a little girl. Well, I turned 30 this week, and today I was not eating corn on the cob. I was just drinking some water, and my tooth chipped. So I called my husband, and I said, how come you didn't tell me that whenever you turn 30, all of your greatest fears become a reality? That happened to me today. So I feel like what I have to say tonight is going to minister to someone, because Satan was really trying his hardest to get my mind focused on something else today and not let me be all here. Anyways, just a fun little story about what happened to me today. But anyways, so Miss Kathy called me a few weeks ago and asked me to share just a little bit of what I learned during my season of isolation. And I say my season of isolation for a reason, because even though it was the same time period for every single one of us, it was a different season for every single one of us. I would say that somewhere between probably week 2 or week 3 of staying at home, even though our calendars were wiped clean and our schedules came to a screeching halt, I realized that I was still in a hurry all the time, with changing the way that we did church, with my kids, with deadlines, bedtimes, housekeeping, and everything that we as women do. I realized that I was kind of like a sergeant, like a drill sergeant. I mean, honestly, like all in the name of, an 8 o'clock bedtime, I was like getting my troops in their bunkers. And it might be a slight exaggeration, but it's really not far from the truth. And I realized that as women in ministry, as leaders in our community, as maybe mentors, students, our husband's biggest cheerleaders, I mean, that's a big responsibility, right? As moms, as friends, and all the roles that we might play, I realized that it's really easy for us to feel like our plate is so full that our time has to be rationed. And I think about it like from family time to date night to staff meetings to studying to conversations with people whose problems we think are trivial, to Sundays and everything in between. It's easy to find ourselves asking questions like, okay, how do I not waste time? How can I save time? I'm going to have to kill two birds with one stone today. I have so much to do. And how can I be more efficient? And while these are not bad questions, if we concern ourselves with these questions too much, they can quickly change from questions to burdens. And that's what I learned during my season of isolation, is that hurry is a false burden. Busy, yeah, we're going to be busy. Busyness for women is inevitable. Hurriedness, that's optional. I realize that busyness is external and it's what's all around me, but hurry is internal, and I can change that. One thing constant that you'll notice about Jesus is that he was never in a hurry. We for sure know that he was not in a hurry to go raise Lazarus from the dead. And on his way to heal Jairus' daughter, who definitely needed Jesus to get there and heal her, he took the time to stop and heal the woman with the issue of blood. And then I think about, before he completed the greatest mission in the history of missions, the cross, he still took the time to go into the garden and pray. Ecclesiastes 3:1 tells us that for everything, there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven, which basically says to us, every single moment has its own appointed time. So why do we try to save time? The time exists. The time is there. So we might as well spend the time. So if you've ever thought before, or if you're thinking right now, hey, Chelsea, look, I hear what you're saying, but you don't know how busy I am, girl. I just don't have a choice but to feel like I'm in a hurry all the time. Hurry is my middle name, and that's not going to change for me. I'm going to ask you to reject that burden tonight because it's not true. I'm asking you to focus less on saving time and, as a result, spending all your moments, and instead focus on spending the time and saving your moments. So how do we do this? The first step to rejecting the burden of hurry sounds kind of like an overused scripture that's sort of become cliche, but it's completely necessary to rejecting the burden. And it's be still. Psalm 46:10 tells us, be still and know that I am God. What does that mean for us? This means subtracting the pressure of hurry and simply just adding his presence. This means that we don't have to move at a super fast pace to accomplish what he wants, but we also don't have to move at a slow pace to be able to recognize him. He offers us his pace, which is a pace of peace. It means that we don't have to be still, but our souls are still. When we pursue his presence, he completely frees us to pursue his purpose, his people, instead of just perpetual busyness. This second step, this is one that I've really struggled with. It's hard to do sometimes, but it is paramount in overcoming the burden of hurry. And it's this: embrace your season. I think that part of the reason why we are tempted to hurry so much is because we're trying to achieve balance. And we rush through the things on our to-do list just so that we can check off every box and not feel guilty for missing something. My husband and I, we like to listen to Craig Groeschel's leadership podcasts. If you don't listen to that, I highly recommend it. But one in particular that really resonated with me was he put it this way. He said, balance is an illusion. If you're striving for balance, you'll always be frustrated. Balance is not the goal. Faithfulness is. Be faithful to do what's most important in this season of life. You must respect this season that you are in. If you have 2 toddlers, this probably isn't the time to read every book that you want to read. Say no for now, but not forever. Give yourself permission to be a little out of balance. Don't feel guilty when you are focused on what's appropriate during this season. And I think that the verse that we read earlier in Ecclesiastes that said, for everything there is a season, I think that verse proves this to be true. Whether you're single in ministry and trying to have patience, or maybe you're working on your degree and feeling overwhelmed. Maybe you're newly married, wanting to start a family, or maybe you're at home full-time, 24/7 with your kids, raising them, and you feel like you want to be more available. When am I going to be more available to serve? Maybe you feel like you're the only one that's available, and you're waiting on God to send somebody to take a load off of your shoulders. Or maybe you're evangelizing and you're living from hotel to hotel and wondering when you're going to have a chance to just be home for a little while. Actually, I don't think that any of us right now want to be home for a little while, so maybe not that one. But no matter what season you're in, you have a choice to make. You can ask yourself this question: do I want to be frustrated, or do I want to be fulfilled? Aiming for balance leads to frustration every time, but aiming for faithfulness leads to fulfillment. And this last step is imperative for women in our position, for women in ministry. I believe that if we cannot learn to do this, I'm not sure that we'll ever really be able to completely lay down that burden of hurry. Choose people over perfect. I'll explain to you what I mean by this, but this is going to be a moment where I'm just really transparent with you. So during the shelter in place order, one of my friends had a birthday, and one of her friends scheduled a Zoom birthday call with some of her friends late that night. I say that it was late. It was probably like 8:30, but regardless, it had been a really long day at home with my husband and 3 kids, and I was tired, y'all. So we hop on the call, wish her a happy birthday, spend a few minutes chatting. And then the host of the meeting says, okay, so I want us to play a game. And look, we'll play one round, and one round lasts like 15 minutes. And then if everyone likes it, we'll play another round. Y'all, in a hurry, so quick, I was like, nope, done. Peace out. I'm going to find all the excuses. So I get in the camera, like on a Zoom call, just like this one. And I'm like, hey, y'all. Hey, can you hear me? Am I on mute? No? Okay. I'm so sorry. My shower is finally free. My kids are bathed and they're in bed. And I finally have the shower open. So I'm going to go take a shower and go to bed because I got to wake up and do homeschooling in the morning. But I'm so glad that we got to do this call. Happy birthday. Love you, girl. And then I went to the bathroom where my husband was. And I was like, what, is that rude? Was that rude of me to not stay on the phone call to play that game? Because I'm so tired. And he said, no, it wasn't rude. But you know that's not the reason you got off the call. And I'm like, oh, yeah? Tell me. Why did I get off the phone call then? And he said, because those weren't your friends. And I'm like, yeah, I can see that. You know, I didn't want to stay on the phone call because those aren't really the people that I hang out with. And he said, you know what's worse? And y'all, I felt it in my gut. He didn't have to say it. I knew what was worse. I said, what? Are you trying to tell me that I don't have any friends? And that was it. And I started crying. I told him that he hurt my feelings. And we just had like a come to Jesus meeting right there. He apologized to me. He comforted me, but he really didn't have to because he was right. And I realized in that moment that I'm really, really good at having a lot of acquaintances. I'm really good at that. But I'm terrible at taking the time to develop those into friendships. And I think that since being in ministry, I have thought for me, there is no perfect scenario friendship because either one, I can't be myself around people, especially people from my church, because they expect me, my children, our family to be perfect, and we're not. Or two, I've thought they won't be themselves around me. They'll be pretentious because of my position. They'll just pretend and they won't be real. But then I thought, how many people feel like they have to pretend around me because I haven't taken the time to show them that they don't have to? And then I thought, have I forgotten? Have I forgotten who I'm supposed to please? In Galatians 1:10, it says, am I now trying to win the approval of human beings or of God? Or am I trying to please people? In his book, The Purpose-Driven Life, Rick Warren says, at some point in your life, you must decide whether you want to impress people or influence people. You can impress people from a distance, but you must get close to influence them. And when you do that, they will be able to see your flaws. So since having this realization that I've been hurrying through things, hurrying through acquaintances, not developing friendships, I have tried to make some positive changes, like Stephanie brought up, since realizing these things about myself. So since our stay-at-home order has been lifted, I have invited 3 different friends over at 3 separate times to my back porch just to share a meal and have no agenda. Also, since then, my husband and I have started a weekly spiritual growth group in our home. If you know us, you know that we actually don't really have time to do that. But during the pandemic, we realized we don't really have time not to do that. So the same 3 couples every Wednesday night, whether my house is clean or not, whether my kids are ready for bed or not, whether my dog has been to the groomer or not, they come over every Wednesday night, and we are being super intentional about developing deeper relationships. And it has taught me this: choosing people over perfect is worth the risk, and it's worth the time because it pleases God. So thank you for taking the time tonight to hear my heart. I hope that you feel encouraged tonight. I hope you feel like the weight of hurry has been lifted off of your shoulders, and that you are able to experience freedom to be still, to embrace your season, and to choose people over perfect.
Chelsea, thank you. That is so good. It speaks to all of us in all of our walks of life. You know, we as women, we're moving forward, no matter what age we are. And so it just speaks so well for all of us. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you for letting me.
Trina, do you have some comments that you would like to just chime in and share?
Yes. That was amazing, Chelsea. You had me really thinking. Yeah. Wow. I just went to Israel with the church people, and I told Tom my statement. It's been 2 times. And I told Tom, I said, that's 12 days. Those people aren't going to like me after 12 days. I can fool them for a Sunday, but if they're with me for 12 days, they're going to come back. They may not still be going to church with us. Yes, because they're going to see me for what I really am, and they're going to get to know me. So it was kind of scary. It was really scary when you think people getting to know me as I really, as Tom knows me, as my kids know me, as my grandkids know me. Wow. Yeah. So thank you. And my question to myself was, am I okay with my flaws? Whoa. Yeah, I know my flaws. But am I okay with people seeing them? And I understand there are seasons. But I want to always choose people over perfect. I do. I struggle with a surface relationship. I do have a few friends, but I do struggle with people really see the inside because it's scary. I mean, sometimes I scare myself. And so I know if people really see my insides, they're going to be scared of me too. But God.
Oh, so good. Thanks, Trina. Sarada, have you got a comment or two?
Yeah, sure. Trina, thank you so much.
That's so good.
Wonderful. And thank you, Chelsea. So much things Chelsea speak about, it stand out to me, and I have like a few notes here. And one of the questions I asked myself, have I isolate myself from meeting people or making friends? Because it's very easy to smile and laugh and talk. And for me personally, and for a lot of people, we love on people, but at arm's length, a distance. We don't cross that. We don't cross that wall because, again, how Trina explained, if they really know us, if they would really like us. And like my culture, how I grew up, we're very transparent. We speak what's in our mind, and we live life like that. And when I started to live here, I have learned I write it down. Your transparency and vulnerability is not everyone's cup of tea, which is quite okay. But don't allow those situations to make you isolated, because you may open up to someone and be real and vulnerable at that moment, and it's maybe too much for them, or they don't know how to deal with it, which is quite okay. But don't allow yourself just to shun away, because the moment we feel rejected, it's easy for us just to close up again, So we had to keep on allowing ourselves to love and to be loved, and it brings freedom.
That's great, Sarada. Thank you. Stephanie, what are you thinking?
Well, I was thinking about listening to coming from beautiful island country. Oh,
sorry.
Are you okay? I'm using Kathy's audio. So, but I was saying that I really can resonate with what Sister Trina and Sarada both said about just wondering about my flaws and things like that, and then Sarada just kind of what she was saying about like the rejection stuff. But it's funny how when you start to parent your teenage daughter and you realize that you realize that the flaws that you're trying to out-parent or to teach otherwise, and you realize that those are the flaws that you have and the fear. So when I'm looking at my middle child and I keep saying things to her like, who cares? Or go meet somebody and go talk to that girl. And she's like, no, they don't like me. And it hit me one day that is what I feel when I come into a room, I automatically assume they don't like me. And so I'll either do one of two things. I'll try to overcompensate or I'll withdraw. And so I'm learning that I find my worth in the Lord. And it's hard sometimes, especially in situations to where you're new, or, and you're trying to, you don't want people to dislike you. And so I tend to, a lot of times withdraw and just assume they're not going to like me. So it's kind of almost like a protection of rejection. So if they don't like me, I've already prepared myself for it. And I've noticed that as I'm trying to parent that out of my 13-year-old, that I'm the same way in that situation. And so being, kind of open and, and making those phone calls to say, hey, do you want to go for a coffee, or do you want to hang out? It's almost like I brace myself for them to say no. But most of the time they say yes. And it's important for us as, leaders in ministry. We've got to deal with those internal sayings, those lies, that we have believed about ourselves that are not from our Father God, so that we can have relationships. And I've noticed and I also wanted to mention, Chelsea, you said something I thought was just so profound, about busyness is all around us. It's external, but hurry is internal. And I just think that just caught me. And I just have thought about that for a while. When I read your notes earlier, I've been thinking about it since, because we can't always control what's going on around us. But if we take a minute and take a Sabbath moment to take care of ourselves, our families, our relationships, God is always faithful to redeem the time that we take for a Sabbath or for to take care of somebody else. And so that's what I have to say. That's my comments.
So good. I was just thinking too, there's so much, Chelsea, that I've gleaned from what you're talking about. And when you said something about that balance was a myth, honestly, when I first heard that, it was like, any of y'all feel that? You just kind of feel a lift? Wow. Yes. So being out of balance is normal. I mean, it's okay not to feel like we're in control of everything. That's so powerful to just receive, hey, it doesn't have to be perfect, but just to focus on being faithful, not being balanced. And that was just a beautiful way to share that. Do any of you out there have comments, Trina?
I do. I have one more.
Yes, please.
I love the number. It's the rejection, what she was talking about, the rejection, the burden of hurry. And the first thing was, be still and know that I'm God. I love that, Psalms. But if you've ever looked in John 14:27, I love that verse. And it says, I'm leaving you with a gift. I'm leaving you. He says, I'm going away. I'm going to depart, but I'm going to leave you with a gift. And this is the gift I'm going to give you. Peace of mind.
Yes.
And heart. He said, I'm going to leave you with the peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give is a gift the world cannot give us. So don't be troubled or afraid. And so when we get in that season where we just want to be burdened down with hurry and busyness, we just have to settle back in. Not only did God give us the gift of salvation, he saved us, but he also gave us the gift of peace. So we have to embrace both.
Embrace.
Because it's our gift.
Yes. Beautiful. So good. Does anyone have any comments or questions they would like to chime in?
I'd like to share. So everything was amazing. Definitely spoke to the core of just, I'm a very internal person. I have a bubbly personality, but I'm more than happy to just stay home for the rest of the year and not, bat an eye. But if this season, and really the season before this, she was at a different church. My husband was a campus pastor. And the pastors of that church were co-lead pastors. And so she really wanted there to be a women's leader Bible study group. And so all the women at the campus we were at were like, you have to be a part of this Bible study. And I was like, I really don't want to, because then you guys are going to like really get to know my life. And like you said, that's really scary. But it was the best thing just to be honest. And when I'm honest, I'm really honest. Like there's no filter. And that could be good or bad, but you're just going to kind of get it how it is. And I believe that's how people connect and just, I mean, you're just going to get the fro. You're just going to get all of it. You're going to get whatever comes with, you know, my personality. And I've made a lot of great friendships that way. But as pastors' wives, as co-pastors, like it is very scary to let people in, but it's been the most beautiful thing. And your point 3, choose people over perfect. I loved it because so often we're trying to be perfect. Even if we don't want to be perfect, we have to have everything in order. But when we just choose people and we're just genuine and we're just, you know, just showing our hearts, that's where so much healing comes from. Unity is just such a beautiful thing. So tonight was just a beautiful reminder of not to have a hurry heart, but to really just be settled in what I'm supposed to do. I have a 4-year-old. It's not my time to go, you know, reach for the moon. It's my time to love on him and give him kisses and teach him things and work my full-time job. And that's perfectly okay. And then the next season, when he's older, then I'm gonna run around in circles and do all the other things, but it's okay to be where I'm at. And know that I could not have this balance, but just knowing it's okay to bake cookies and that's it, and not feel like it's not enough, you know, and just knowing that I'm where I'm supposed to be in this season. Imperfect, yet beautiful, yet something to give, and all of that's okay. So it was really good.
I'll just add on to that because that was really encouraging. The one thing that really spoke out to me that Chelsea said was just you were talking about towards the end of you know, having people over at your house and whether it was clean or not, and that happens to me all the time because as a young adult pastor's wife, I have a lot of young girls that come over to my house all the time, in and out, and for a while, it was really hard for me to be okay with letting them in my home because, you know, there was toys everywhere, or there was a full, you know, sink of dishes, and my hair was up in a mess of bun, no makeup, you know, just mom life, you know, stuff that you do every day. And but I've realized that the more and more that I've let them into my home, and that's what they want. They just want to come over and talk about the Lord and learn and grow. And I was telling Jared the other day, I was like, I'm so thankful that I have the opportunity to be able to open my home. And not all the time. It's not like they're in my house all the time. Like there's balance to it all, of course. But I've realized that when I do that and when I open up my heart and my home to them, to let them see the mess, to let them see the way that I talk to my children while they're there, to let them just sit on my couch and talk to me about life. Those are those moments that I feel most fulfilled and joy and peace, because I'm allowing them to share their heart with me, and then they're allowing me to share my heart with them. And I think it just opens up. I want to be able to set an example for them of, okay, hey, you know what? In the season of your life where you're young, whether it's single or whether you're in a relationship or you're going to be engaged, married, whatever, but letting them see, hey, you can do this. Like I'm a mother, I'm a wife, and yeah, sometimes it's hard and it's messy, and it can be crazy at times. But the Lord is faithful, and you can. One day, because they always tell me, like, I want to be a mom, I want to be a wife, and all this kind of stuff. And I'm like, you can do it. Like the Lord is faithful to take you from one season to the next. And so I loved everything that you shared. It was so encouraging and really just hit home for me, because everything you said, I'm like, yes, I totally get it. I'm right there with you. Even just the other night, we were talking to a girl who just recently got engaged. They're just amazingly young adult leaders. And she was just talking to us about life and just, you know, trying to figure out where they're going to live. once they're married, talking about buying a home or renting, just life stuff. And she had just watched our girls for a couple hours, and we get home. One of the girls is in bed, and our 5-year-old is still awake, so she's just hanging out on the couch with us for a while. But she stayed probably for another hour, just sharing her heart and talking about life, and we were encouraging her. And when she left, I just had so much. Yeah, it was late. It was like 10:30 or 11 when she left, but I felt so much joy and peace and love for her and just for my family. Just thankful for the opportunity to get to do that. Because, and she told me before she left, thank you so much. I love y'all. And thank you so much for sharing your heart. And so anyway, that's just something that's gone on in my life.
That's great, Evelyn. Anyone else want to chime in? This is all.
This Audrey, can I?
Yes.
I guess I struggle with friends, having friends. I'm the middle child, and growing up, I really did not have friends. I had friends, but I never had a best friend. And so just as I've gone year to year and in my adult life, it wasn't that I didn't try to have friends. I guess I didn't have that trust. And when I did reach out to people, what I thought would be friends, in some way they betrayed me. So I kind of have that wall built up. Even though I reach out, and sometimes I feel invisible, and that is hard for me to. So, like I think Stephanie was. So sometimes you walk in a room, and I don't know how I'm going to be received. I feel like no one sees me sometimes, so I kind of like just get in my little corner and just don't say much. And you do the cordial, conversations, but I still don't feel like that anyone sees me, and so I kind of struggle with that. I have this note on my desk, and I see this every day, and it says, a true friend. I wrote this. I said, a true friend is one who overlooks your failures and tolerates your success. And I keep that there because I haven't found that true friend. Mm. And, I get, as I'm one of the older ones in the group, and I see the younger ones with their friends and stuff, and I just don't feel like I fit. And I don't feel like there's anybody my age that that I can connect with. So that's kind of hard. Also in leadership, and my husband and I have our own ministry, but we're under Oasis Church with Pastor Bishop Suber. But other than church people, I don't have anybody on the outside, and that's kind of hard for me. So I just feel lonely a lot of times because I don't have somebody that I can just pick up the phone and just call, and that true friend that I can really connect with. Mm-hmm. So that was it.
We'll just pray about that with you.
Thank you.
There's someone out there that would just be so blessed to be your friend.
I would love that.
And we'll be your friends.
Thank you. That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I wanted to step up and say, first of all, Audrey, I will be your friend, but also I can relate to several different things that have been said. But I also, for me, is I have a lot of friends, but just like some of you said, just realizing that you don't have that real intimate friend. I am blessed to be on staff and have some wonderful women and friends that we on staff. But there are times where, being, like you said, being a little bit older, you want to obviously be an influencer and set example. And so sometimes, of course, the team understands the vulnerability. So I'm not ashamed to be vulnerable. But at the same time, that looking for that deep connection and having women. So I'm excited. I'm very new. I'm at Vintage. Very new to this group. But I tell you what, I want to say that you're speaking life. I am so excited to, Chelsea, girl, you look 12, but I tell you what, God is using you. I mean, like insane. So I'm excited. And I say that with love. But I also want to say to Audrey, that's the lie of the enemy, that you are valuable, and just because you haven't found that right person that you think, I mean, one of the things I had to learn to love myself, and the people on the team know that. One of the things is I didn't like my exterior. I have allowed myself to gain this weight, and so I was like self-loathing, and everything was starting to become. I even noticed over this last 2 weeks that there was negativity starting to grow up in me. And if you meet me, you know that God has given me the encouragement. I love to encourage people. So I knew that the weight of the enemy and the weight of some things, the projects that I have going on, were trying to take me down. But walking in, and of course, part of the time I was driving, but being on this call, I am revived. Just from simple conversations. So thank you all who put this together, just for stepping up, because I'm falling in love with you ladies already, and so I'm excited, so excited.
We're blessed to have you a part.
That's awesome. I'd like to say something. This is Beverly Douglas from Lamarck, Texas. I go to the fellowship in Texas City. My pastors are the Herons, and I absolutely am in love with Destiny Ministries. Had it not been for the connection with Robin Posgay, I never would have been a part of anything this integral for my life at this point. I just made 68 last weekend. So I have a lot of things. I'm listening to all of what you're saying, and I, like the other young lady, I'm sorry I didn't get your name, I do understand, because I am an encourager. I missed the forum because I heard I feel the hearts of women. And as women, we always think that we're being judged. We judge ourselves more critically in our own private space and time than anybody could ever judge us. But I'm here to tell you that that's a lie, because you're perfect the way that you are. It's not your situation if other people don't perceive you when you walk into the room. It's your anointing that comes before anything, before you walk into the room, and they see you. A lot of times we're women that we're always expecting some feedback from someone, or we play this reel over and over in our heads that we're not good enough. We're not good enough. I don't look good enough. I've gained too much weight. You know, what are they going to think about me? They can read my thoughts. All of these are lies from the enemy. So I'm so thankful, Kathy, because I've listened to you on the webinars, the encouragement that you have given. You are just awesome. I really do love your brain. I love your brain. It's just so key. So I just wanted to share with you ladies, you know, as an older woman, a single older woman with children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. And I encourage them, because we're at a pivotal time right now where we can turn this around for women. This is the time of change, and we have to encourage one another. That's all I have to say.
That's good. Thank you for that.
Is it all right if I jump in and say something quick? I'm Amanda. I'm from Vintage Church too. And thank you, Chelsea, so much for your message. Like, it hit home so hard. And being a military spouse, our seasons are constantly changing. So really embracing my season and being present in it is something that I've been trying to work on, versus thinking of what seasons to come and like already jumping ahead to the next season when I'm still currently in the season that God has me in. So I'm really working on being present and embracing that season. And Stephanie, I love how you spoke about trying to parent your own insecurities out of your teenage daughter. I have a teenage daughter too. So that really hit home for me and made me realize, oh my goodness, I do that. Like, I need to really embrace who she is as a daughter of God and who God made her to be, not who I think she should be or something like that. So thank you guys so much for everything that you're sharing tonight. It is amazing.
Thank you, Amanda. So great to have you all on this evening with us.
It's been great.
It's been great.
This has been wonderful.
Wow. Anybody else? Sarada?
Oh, you're muted, Toshi.
Yes.
There.
It's hard. Being in ministry, it's very hard to make friends as a leader or a pastor wife because it's really hard to be transparent and you're leading in a high level and people expect a lot of you, a lot from you. So if anyone want to add to it.
I'd like to actually add something. So my name's Brooklyn, and I go to Riverside Church in Victoria, Texas. So I grew up in church my entire life. But when I was about, I'd say 18 years old, I had to move to different church. And so I was in high school, I was in theater, so I was constantly around people. I would say that I did have a good amount of friends, but what I noticed is you can actually be surrounded by so many people, but you can still feel so lonely at the same time. And you can still feel like you might not have someone there to, someone to listen to you. And so I had friends, but I wouldn't say that they were all Christian friends, where I could pour out my heart to, and I know that I could receive Christian advice. And I knew I just couldn't get that from them. So there was a point in my life where I decided I'm going to start praying for Christian friends, and I'm going to start praying for God to send the right people in my life. And so I moved to Riverside Church, and just God went just above and beyond, just providing the right friendships for me. And so I realized that, yes, I do have flaws. And so, but I realized that with true Christian friends, you can go to them and you can say, this is what I'm struggling with. This is what I'm going through. And they're not going to judge you and they're not going to condemn you, but they're going to be there to say, hey, I'm praying for you. This is what the Bible says about that. And they can encourage you. And you just walk away from the conversation just feeling refreshed and just knowing that you have someone that you can be accountable to, that they can be accountable for you and just pour into you. So I just encourage anyone, if you're needing Christian friends, just pray for it, because God's not going to disappoint. He's going to bring the right people into your life.
That's good, Brooklyn.
Can I say one more thing?
Yes, please, Trina.
Just listening to all this, I think one of my takeaway is don't make it look too perfect because it's going to be really hard for others to hit the mark because nobody's perfect. And so when they see us be real, they like it. People like seeing, people like seeing us not quite having it all together. I don't know if that's, it makes us seem real. It makes us seem approachable. It makes us feel like, oh, the mark's not way up there and I can never get there. No, I think we should all strive to do our best. I think we should all strive what Galatians 5:22, but the Holy Spirit produces this kind of fruit in us. I do know we are to reproduce the fruit, but there's just sometimes we just don't. We have to understand, I just didn't hit the mark today. So here we go. I'm just not here. And I think God's okay with it. And I think those around us will be okay with it also.
Yes, so good, Trina. I know the Lord doesn't expect us to be perfect.
No, because if we were, what would grace? Why would we need grace? Why would we need mercy if we were always perfect?
And you know what? We wouldn't need each other.
Right.
People need people.
Right.
We need each other.
We need each other. Wow, it's been so good tonight. Anybody else want to chime in?
I will say, out of that women's group, I did get 2 best friends, and both were unexpected, but it was because we were just real, like talked about past hurts, marriage stuff, and I'm always mindful what I share because I always want to present, whether it's my husband or just certain things in a good way. But with these 2 young ladies, we can vent together. We could cry together. We pray together. We check each other. There's just this level of accountability. And I'm 32, and I was just telling the Lord the other day, like, you had to wait till I was feeling super old to give me a best friend. Although I know 32 is not old, but it feels a little old because you're over 30. But it felt like it took forever for me to get someone that I could just, and we don't actually talk on the phone, we Marco Polo. But just like, oh my gosh, let me Marco Polo her and tell her I'm so mad that somebody cut me off. And then she got to be like, Brittany, check your attitude. I'm like, okay, you're right. Let me check my attitude. But don't you agree with me? Like, we like go back and forth. And we just get real. And even if I'm preaching or just teaching a Bible study, I always want to be genuinely real because I agree, nobody is perfect. And the moment we're striving for perfection is the moment we're no longer allowing God to use us how we're supposed to be used. Because it's through our flaws, it's through the messiness that God gets the glory. And I'm just constantly reminded that it's okay, Brittany. You don't have to have it all together. It's much easier when I don't have it all together, when I'm tripping over myself and then kind of laugh it off or have someone I could just be real with. It takes the weight and the burden off of myself in this standard that I have. And so now there's times that I went to church with one earring and I'm just like, well, maybe this is just going to be a fashion statement today. And, you know, the woman, like they just, like they said, they want real, they want genuine because we're not supposed to be these high markers for God. We're just supposed to be everyday real people. Jesus met with everyday real people. Samaritan woman at the well, everyday real people, you know. Anybody in the Bible that he really connected with were just everyday people with everyday struggles, just wanting a genuine relationship so their life could be different by something small as an encounter with God that was just so much bigger and impacted life in such a bigger way. So even groups like this is amazing to see women on a call to say, yes, let me walk beside you. It's not a competition. It's not about who has the better congregation, any of those silly things. It's just genuine people. I mean, I'm in my bed right now, you know, just like genuine people, like wherever you are, get in front of your phone and let's just do life. That's what's exciting because ministry is lonely, ministry is hard, but it doesn't have to be if you have genuine people that you could call up and be like, today was hard. And you could vent and you can be encouraged and then you can go eat pasta because I love pasta, you know, and everything's fine, you know, we could just have good everyday conversation and just doing life together. Everyone needs at least one best friend. So whoever doesn't have a best friend, I'm praying, like on the floor, face down, praying that you find that person that you could just pour your heart out to, because we all need at least one person to be able to have that.
That's good, Brittany. Well, I feel like we should kind of bring it to a close. We usually try to keep our meetings to about an hour. And I just want to thank you all so much for your input. It's been so good. Chelsea, just thank you for sharing your heart and such wisdom, transparency. We just love you. Stephanie, would you want to say something about the Destiny Leaders or Destiny Women Forum?
Yes. So, ladies, make sure you're a part. If you have Facebook, make sure you're a part of the Women of Destiny Forum. You all should have gotten an invite to that. But if you can't find it, just type in Women of Destiny and look for like the pinkish, purplish color, and you'll see us all in there. And hey, we've got a post up right now that says introduce yourself. So I'd love for you guys to all get on there today over the weekend and tell us about you and your family. I know we didn't get to hear from everyone tonight, but we can keep the conversation going in our forum. and we can connect that way. And you can post prayer requests. You can share about experiences. We can pray for each other. So we want that to be a safe place for all of our ladies to connect and share and grow and support and encourage one another. So make sure you go check that out. And please, please go comment under that Introduce Yourself thread and tell us about who you are.
Yes, we definitely want to. The reason for that Facebook forum is we really want to do, we don't want just to have one session. We'd really like to just stay in contact, to do life together and share our lives with one another. I think it's the first core value of Destiny is relationship. And that's what we value the most is our relationships. And I value my relationship with each of you. Thank you for joining us. I was wondering, Chelsea, would you want to close us in prayer? Are you muted?
Sorry. Yeah, I just unmuted myself. Yes.
Love you so much, Chelsea. We just appreciate you. And
well, thank you so much to you and to Stephanie and everybody that put this together. It's been incredible. And thank you to the panel for sharing your heart too. And every person who wasn't on the panel, but you basically were. So much wisdom and insight. So thank you, everyone, for being transparent. That's how we make friends, right? Let's be transparent. So, okay. Thank you, God, so much for this evening. I thank you for this group of ladies. I thank you that this is a safe place. God, I just ask that you... I ask that we would take on your yoke, God. I thank you, God, for the mantle that you've placed on every single one of us. But I pray, God, that we would take on your yoke, God, because your yoke is easy. I pray that you would make it easy for us, God, that you would open up doors that need to be open, that you would shut doors that need to be shut, God, that you would shut doors of insecurity, God, and that you would open doors of friendship. God, I pray that you would shut doors of hurry and open up doors for us to rest. I thank you for every season. I thank you that we're all in different seasons. I thank you that there is no cookie cutter woman in ministry, that we're all different and we can all glean from one another. I thank you that this is only the beginning. I thank you so much for what you've done in our hearts tonight. And I pray that you would continue to do the work. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Thank you all so much for joining us. Have a great evening.